in this.
We will call the City Approved Common Council meeting for March 4th, 2013 to order. We ask you all to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Torrance, and please remain standing for the invocation led by Pastor Rod Carell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, we come to you and thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come together. And we ask, God, that you would guide and direct this meeting tonight. We ask for your direction. We ask for your wisdom. Lord, be with the leaders of our city. And then, Lord, be with us tomorrow as this predicted storm is coming in. Just pray that you be with our safety director and leaders of our community, Lord. Just ask that you would just give us safety there in Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call.
Alley.
Yes.
Goff.
Present.
Greer.
Here.
Guston.
Here.
Crosskoff.
Here.
Lee. Here. Torrance.
Here.
All present. Reading and correcting of the journal.
I move we suspend the rules and dispense with the reading and correcting of the journal.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, seconded by Councilman Greer to suspend the rules and reading and correcting of the journal. Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Communications.
Phyllis.
Okay. I'd like to report on our Civic Center. Been a little bit slow, but everything is this time of year. 95 people used the center, and they were able to return back to the city $162.67. That's about all I got to say.
Okay. Any questions for Phyllis? Mr. Gornto.
February, the Building and Zoning Department issued one rehab permit and 8 complaints in the Building Department, 2 complaints in zoning. Building had 20 meetings and consultations. The Zoning Department had 12 meetings and consultations. We issued 1 demolition permit, 1 electrical permit, 2 residential rehab permits, and 2 roof permits.
Busy month of February. Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, also would like to mention to you that just a few minutes before we open the doors, the new sound system is in place in the council chambers. This was the intent to make sure that when people watch this broadcast on television, that they can hear the audience participation. In the past, they could not hear that. So you see the 3 new microphones that are above and 2 new speakers that are located up there, so the people in the audience can hear better. The 3 or 4 speakers above you, the silver ones that are in the ceiling, those are now working. They haven't worked in quite some time, so when the people are speaking in the audience, you should be able to hear them better as well. So, and this was all paid for through our cable television committee, and that money comes from the franchise fee that Comcast, who is our cable provider, now pays. So it's just the money we receive from that is what paid for all this work. So very good system, and we hope that those watching at home will be able to hear the entire meeting instead of just portions of it now. Also, the road repairs list for 2013, we are completing the final numbers on that, the roads that we are going to be looking at repairing. And so I think we're going to be making quite a few streets a little better throughout the city, and there will be some looked at each section of the city as we go through that. So once we get that all compiled and the cost breakdown, we'll make copies for you. We got one more section to do, and we should have that completed.
Very good. Thank you.
Move on to unfinished business. First item is to remove 2012 from the table.
I move we remove ordinance number 25, 2012 from the table.
Been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilman Guston, to remove ordinance number 25, 2012 from the table. Roll call.
Alley.
Yes.
Goff.
Yes.
Greer.
Yes.
Guston.
Yes.
Crosskoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Torrance.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, you're now to put it back on the floor, so we need a motion to adopt.
I move we adopt ordinance number 25, 2012.
Second?
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskopf, second by Councilman Gessman to adopt ordinance 25, 2012. Questions? Mr. Merriman?
Good evening. What you have as, I believe it's Exhibit 1 or Attachment 1 to the ordinance are the revised rate tariffs that were the result of the cost of service study that we had redone after the original one. If you'll recall, the original cost of service study, we attempted to build more of the fixed costs into the customer fee. And what that meant was for customers that used less than the average in each rate class, their perceived or their effective increase was greater than the average for the class. So that would hit low-income folks, residential customers, particularly hard, the people that don't use the average. So we went back and we asked the consultant to recalculate the rates and just spreading the requirement equally over the entire rate class. So for example, if the average increase for residential customers was 3.3%, it would be 3.3% for all residential customers, the ones that used very little and the ones that used more than the average. And so that way it decreases the adverse impact on those low-use customers. So what you have tonight are the revised rates that came out of that the recalculation of the cost of service study, and you'll note that it phases those changes in over 2 years.
Have any questions for Mr. Merriman? Anyone in the audience have any questions concerning this? Is what we had discussed in the past, and it was asked to go back, as Mr. Merriman stated, and this is the final result of this. No questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
In the new one, the rate schedule is just for power service, and the other one, we had a power service for secondary metered and primary metered.
Yes, and I apologize. That the two separate tariffs that you should not have gotten that. That's what the
Okay.
consultants gave us, because if you look in the tariffs that I just gave you tonight under power service, it assumes that the customer will be metered at secondary voltage. Then if you turn to the second page, it says metering adjustment. It says if service is metered at voltage greater than 4,800 or 480, the billing demand and energy measurements shall be decreased by 2% to correct for such measurements to the equivalent of metering at the utility secondary voltage. So in other words, that becomes the primary metered rate that you got originally.
Okay. So
And this is the way the tariff has always appeared historically, the way you have it now.
What we had first had
The
information that wasn't.
right, they had effectively calculated another rate at the 2% reduction. Okay. And one could say, well, that makes more sense, but we wanted to make sure the rates were consistent. The format was consistent with the way it had always been.
And is there a general service three-phase accounted for somewhere else, or is the old one?
The old one,
Is that the one we're going to use? The one that
no,
was.
the new one is the one, because it's got three-phase in it.
Yeah. Single phase, three phase.
I must not have that in my paperwork. Okay. Can I see that?
Sure.
Or can I see one that you have? Okay, because I don't have a new one for that one. Thank you.
And so to recap, this was done because we haven't had a rate study done in about 20 years.
Well, it's a cost of service study,
Cost of
which is
service study.
different than a rate
Right,
study.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
Sorry, I misspoke.
It's no.
Okay. And
Yeah, it had been about 20 years.
and it's required that we fairly allocate costs among the different customer bases.
That's correct. You cannot You cannot subsidize one class at the expense of another.
Okay. State law. State law.
State statute.
Okay.
That's correct.
And the utilities, this is revenue neutral for the utilities. You're
That's
not
correct.
asking for more money.
No.
Okay.
Thank
Again,
you.
for the audience, just so we make sure everyone in the audience understands, do you have any questions about what we're discussing here? Okay.
Made it clear.
You did. I guess you did. Okay, seeing no further questions, we'll have a roll call.
Alley?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes?
Greer?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Crosskopf?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you
Mr.
for
Chairman,
your
before
work,
we go to the next...
Roger, thank you for all the work you did on this.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Just a point, another point on this ordinance 25. I know we are amending this ordinance to include this new Exhibit 1, the rate study, phased in over 2 years, but also it says that the rate and charges herein approved shall take effect the third day of December 2012. That should be taking effect.
Had to take effect, that passage, yeah.
Okay.
So, should we make a correction on that as far as the date's concerned?
Yeah,
I mean, it says it's at the bottom of it's effective upon passage.
yeah,
So-
that's more of a typo. I mean, just change the ordinance. Yeah, but I don't think you need a motion to change
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay. We'll just note it in the minutes that you did make that question, so. Mr. Chairman, before we go on, I probably should have done this under communication, but tonight you see a Boy Scout troop with us here this evening, and they are coming in to see how municipal government works, so you guys got to be on your best behavior this evening. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to stick around after me with questions. But thanks for being here. Next item is ordinance number 3, 2013.
An ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated fire territory to the fire territory budget the sum of $21,075.
I move we adopt ordinance number 3, 2013.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskopf, seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt ordinance number 3, 2013. Questions?
And that's to pay for the new vehicle, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you see the attachments on there. So we're going to something a little more fuel efficient for the chief's vehicle. And the old chief's vehicle will put in for an emergency car where they can put some of the gear in the back of that and use it more in that kind of a response vehicle. And he's going to a smaller car, better fuel efficiency.
He did receive 3 bids.
Yes. 2 local and then 1 from a government pool because of the government pool. But, and typically that's a little bit cheaper, but in this instance, it wasn't cheaper.
Yeah.
And so then he went to the 2 local dealerships and he received bids from the 2 local dealerships.
And the amount he's asking to be appropriated is the lowest bid.
It's 48 cents off.
Yeah.
By golly, it is.
48 cents is 48 cents.
That's a rounding error.
No, everything is dealt with now at the State House in round numbers, no cents.
That's what I said, it's a rounding.
It is.
Okay, any more questions?
Is that a commentary on state house government? No sense? I'm just,
You said it, not me.
Didn't I just say something about behaving yourself?
it just, I couldn't not say it.
We'll give you his mailing address to the Boy Scouts here. Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Alley?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Greer?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Crosskopf?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Motion carried. Next item is ordinance number 4, 2013.
An ordinance to appropriate from the unappropriated bond proceeds fund to the bond proceeds fund budget the sum of $1,326,840.
I move we adopt ordinance number 4, 2013.
Second that.
Has been moved by Councilman Croscoff, second by Councilwoman Torrance to adopt under ordinance number 4, 2013. Questions? This is the bond issue that we had presented to you before, and what this is doing is just taking it from one fund, putting it into the fund where we can appropriate money out of it. And so that'll allow us to start spending on some of the items that we had talked about earlier.
Good.
So, any questions on that? Or questions for Jackie? She's the one who's been putting it together. And see if you have any questions for her. Anyone in the audience?
Don't say it.
Roll call.
Alley?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Greer?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Crosskoff?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Anything else under unfinished? Okay, we'll move into new business. First item is Resolution 5, 2013.
A resolution to define what constitutes a fence in the city of Peru and the 2-mile jurisdiction.
I move we adopt resolution number 5, 2013.
I second.
Has been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, second by Councilwoman Lee to adopt Resolution 5, 2013. Questions on that? What this is doing is, many of you have probably heard, there's been some different interpretations on what constitutes a fence. If you look in our current zoning, it says a fence is a barrier. That's it. That's the definition of a fence. That means that you can put in a lot of things, whether it be trucks or cars or whatever, and line them up or stack them up or whatever, and it can be construed as a fence. Personally, I don't think that is what our intent is we're trying to develop things in the community. So this is trying to give a better definition of what is a fence. Now, tonight, this is a resolution. If it is passed, we want to send it to the Peru Plan Commission and have them review it, and then they would pass it, and it'll come back to you once again as an ordinance form. That way it can be codified in our Code of Ordinance book. But what we'd like to do is, if it's passed, is we can send it to them saying this is something the City Council feels strongly about, and we appreciate their support since they are the body who is to be dealing with these types of issues. So this is a letter asking them to be involved with this process as it's defined. Phyllis sits on the Plan Commission. I don't know, Phil, if you had anything else to add on this, because the meeting was held to get some input. This isn't just one person's feeling. This is members of the Plan Commission, too.
I think this is pretty well care of everything that I can think of, overlooking it. It's a lot of time and effort's been put into it, I know that.
Do we have any other questions from the council?
Just curiosity, under unacceptable items, materials, precast concrete barriers, on West Riverside Drive, if we were to redo that flood wall along the road to go to the river, and it seemed to me like precast concrete barriers would seem like it would lend itself to be in that. Does that constitute a fence line, or is that a?
And again, in here it says that the person that's doing the fence can come to the Plan Commission. I mean, they stop by Building and Zoning and get on the agenda first and talk. They can come before the Plan Commission if they would like, but this is a guideline, because right now there are no guidelines.
Okay.
It says a fence is a barrier, and that's it. That's pretty vague.
That's about as big as it gets.
We've gone from one sentence to 3 pages now.
Yeah.
That you know what? I'll tell you what, when you start looking at this and you think, boy, this is wordy, but in today's society, if you do not mention every little detail, somebody says, well, you didn't mention that. So we tried to do that, but being wordy, we're not trying to make it that heavy of a ordinance here, but we did want to make sure that it was clearly defined so there are no questions, and I think this, I tell you, even a 5th grader could figure this one out, so I'd hope so. Yeah, anybody from the audience have any questions? Mr. Gornto?
statement. Presentation of this tonight, I've already advertised in the newspaper 10 days ago, so this is coming to the planning commission next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock.
Pretty sure of yourself, weren't you?
No, I'm sure that this is something I'll be done, so there's no sense delaying it through the months. So if I could get it advertised and we get it on the agenda next month, you'll get it next, you'll get it the month after.
I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Okay, I know you are.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
That's the 12th, isn't it?
Broadway.
Yes. And if y'all amend it and approve the amendment tonight, then it'll come back to the planning commission. If they approve it next Tuesday night, then the mayor signs it. It doesn't have to come back to you again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I need to consider it before adopting?
You need to make a motion
I
to
move we-
adopt ordinance number 7 as amended.
I move we adopt ordinance number 7, 2013 as amended.
Second.
Has been moved by Councilman Croscross, second by Councilman Lee, to adopt ordinance number 7, 2013 as amended. Questions? Do you understand what the change is? It's just from 8th Street to the river and along Broadway, as you said, that instead of going Wabash to Miami Street. So, any questions from the audience? We got a quiet group here tonight. Okay. Seeing none, roll call.
Alley?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Greer?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Crosskoff?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Motion carries. Do we have anything else to come before the council? Anybody in the audience have anything to bring before the council? Okay, if not, just one thing, just as you've been watching weather forecasts, you know, we're supposed to be getting a storm, and whether we get the amount of snow that they're forecasting or not, but just want to, as you're sitting here, rest assured that we have plenty of salt in our barn because it's been pretty mild so far. Our trucks are ready to go, so we'll do everything we can to make sure the streets are clear for you to get to your work and not be late. Darn it anyway, right? Okay. If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
We're out.
Is that tonight? There's going to be a storm tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim, you really opened the door for me there, but I had to cipher. You never, that's the problem, you never fifth grade around when you need one.
Single in the 3. Yeah, yeah.
Did you go to the hearing laws?
Yeah. I was concerned.
Hello, TG, how the heck are
I'm glad you pointed it out.
That's why I'm saying.
Here, you go to
How you feeling, okay? Feeling okay?
He can give you a paperclip.
Yeah, that's true. And here it is March already. March the 4th, yeah. Yeah.
Like that pencil.
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
It actually missed it by a week, usually it's sectional week.
Basically, it was truck.